The right to housing, while not expressly mandated in the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis, is captured in the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights, a convention to which this federation has acceded, where at Article 17.1 it states that everyone has a right to own property alone as well as in association with others. Property, of course, is categorized as choosing action or real property, and land and housing fall in the latter category. My opening statement may seem fairly simple, indeed almost inconsequential, but on the contrary, I want you to grasp its significance, given the history of land ownership in St. Kitts in particular. And while this is not the time to go into the history, I must nevertheless, and for emphasis, demonstrate the importance of that history that says to us that the hopes and dreams of a wealthy nation, while hinged on a more educated populace, is also inexplicably linked to more and more of our indigenous people becoming landed people. In other words, owning land, property in our federation. The National Housing Corporation, which falls under the Ministry of Human Settlement, is mandated by its parent act to provide housing for the poor and indigent among us. In carrying out its mandate, the NHC helps to fulfill that fundamental human right in our federation referenced in my opening statement. In pursuance of that important objective, my ministry proposed to Cabinet, and Cabinet has responded by supporting the procurement of a loan from Social Security to construct 300 housing solutions. And at this point, I want us to give the Social Security Board, the Social Security, a round of applause. This undertaking that we're embarking upon is an important undertaking, and it is one of the important pillars of our Team Unity Government's agenda. The project will be executed by NHC, and preparations have been made for the successful completion of the project within budget. In preparation for this project, we recruited a qualified project consultant. His name is Mr. Warren Thompson, your able chairman this morning. Mr. Thompson has a track record which includes work on projects funded by the Caribbean Development Bank, and his work has been satisfactory to the CDB. Over the past 6 months, in fact over the past 10 months or so, his expertise has been used to identify weaknesses in the organization and to make recommendations to the board to improve efficiency in delivering projects undertaken within budget. His work has shown that significant losses have been incurred on previous projects, and as a result, the Ministry of Human Settlement is satisfied that an ordinary 2-bedroom house, which is proposed by him and quantified by him, will be delivered within budget. In fact, the ministry is happy that the designs that will be used in this project will be the strawberry design. I believe it is being shown on the screens around. The guava berry design, and of course the HS 500 option design. However, modifications have been done to the size of the bedrooms. For example, bedrooms have been increased from a 12 by 9, which could only hold that small bed, to a 12 by 12, and in some cases 12 by 14, fitting twin beds. so that the ordinary poor people of the country will have a much bigger bedroom that can at least hold a dressing table as well. Notwithstanding the increase in the size of the bedrooms, he has indicated to us in our committees that he has been able to reduce the cost of the houses by about $10,000. As a result of that decision, that observation, contractors that were normally contracted with NHC for a sum of $35,000 will get an increase in this project from $35,000 to $42,000 in the first instance, and an additional $3,000 available if the gradient requires that you get additional resources. So that a contractor in this project could be contracted up to $45,000. Those houses which were completed at around $140,000, as I said earlier, today estimating at $130,000. And the entire size of the house, that was approximately 780 square feet. The last set of houses that were delivered will now be increased to 862 square feet. In the past, the housing programs were outfitted with what I call a soft roof, shingles. These houses which we are embarking upon will be outfitted with a PBF 224 gauge R profile metal roofing. In other words, galvalume, a hard roof. This is a choice that we have made so that ordinary poor people, ordinary indigent people could have an improved house and do not face the ravages of hurricane, thinking that every time hurricane comes, they will be losing their roof. Not that you cannot lose galvalume, but it is much easier for you to lose shingles than galvalume. The promise is for bigger homes, better homes, smaller payments which our cabinet has already approved. At the distribution of the last set of houses, cabinet approved that the interest rate on the mortgages with NHC will range from as low as 2% to as high as 5%. That is a significant reduction in interest rates. Now, given the details I have outlined so far, you may very well ask, are the persons employed in NHC, is the board of directors and the management prepared, ready to take on the task of these 300 houses? So at this point, I want to say a big thank you to the board of directors, and I want you to give them a round of applause as well. Because when we came to NHC, one of the things we did not have was money. We were dependent heavily on the government treasury to complete the houses that we did. I think it was a further $6 or $8 million was needed. We did not have it. But in 2 years, the board and the management, and I want you to give Mrs. Arita Simpson and her team a round of applause as well, because the board and the management set about on a program that has resulted now in our bank accounts exceeding $10 million as we stand. Give them a round of applause. While we were relying on government 2 years ago, even to pay salaries, today they can handle their salaries without a dependence on the government. In preparation, I said, the organizational structure has been strengthened, changed to accomplish that. For example, the Human Resource Department has been changed, headed by the person who has been doing the human resource work for all this time, Ms. Jacqueline Basu. Ms. Basu, I have met, recognized that she was the one who was carrying the weight of the human resource task in the organization. Indeed, when we brought an actuary here to look at the pension program for both NHC and solid waste, she was the person who could provide the information. So I wanted to give Jacqueline Basu and her team a round of applause. Miss Jonelle Rollins has been introduced to the team as someone with the capacity to deal with client and public relations. And she's supported by Miss Mavis Warner, a lady who has served the institution for 20 years. And I want you to give them a round of applause as well. Of course, the chairman already advised you that we brought Mr. Lisford Isaac into the organization. That was achieved with the approval of the Honorable Prime Minister and the Cabinet, as I asked him to give us someone who could bring our accounts up to date. Mr. Lisford Isaac is supported by Shirley Burnham, Mona Francis, and a team of persons who I think you should give a round of applause as well. I asked for that applause because the chairman already told you, in 2017, we will be tabling the accounts of NHC for the first time. Of course, we developed what you call and strengthened the mortgage department headed by Miss Camelia Williams, Supervisor Mona Keynes Francis. That team has been working hard to ensure that those who have mortgages and the 35% delinquency that we met, that 35% delinquency is reduced. And I want you to give them a round of applause as well. And Oprah Rogers heads a team, Supervisor Tyrone Jefferson, a team of persons that we have strengthened with individuals who know how to build, who will be on the road regularly, looking at the construction work, examining and ensuring that the ordinary builders who might want to take shortcuts will take no shortcuts in building these houses. Therefore, I want to thank Oprah Rogers and his team as well. And you've heard that we brought Mr. Allen on board, and he works with a team because procurement, the supervisor there being Helena Charles, procurement is an important feature in this exercise. The reputation of NHC will be improved because procurement is an area we will pay greater attention to, so that any scandal I hear, those who are responsible for whatever is causing a scandal will be out the door. So Mr. Allen, you keep track of what's happening so that we do not have scandals in this thing. This investment by NHC, in fact the investment by the government, is an investment that will be properly handled. There will be no scandals in this investment, in this building of these houses, because we have had too many of those in the past. Today, I can guarantee you, under this ministry, that the eyes of myself, the eyes of the Minister Sean Richards, and the eyes of Mr. Ian Patches Liberd, along with a member of the Ministry of Finance, will be monitoring everything that goes on in this program. We are going to do this properly. Now, we have decided at the cabinet level to accept the proposal by those who are doing the planning that in the first 6 months we'll be building clusters. In other words, we'll be building in areas of 10s and 20s all around the country. And in the period following and up to 18 months, we will accommodate individuals on land which is allocated across the country. The areas have been identified as Taylor's, Wellington Road, Pine Garden, Lagweed, the Abbott Extension, Green Acres, Weston Meadows, Tyrone Heights, Stadium View, Crab Hill, Rollins, Sadler's Park, Lavington, Otleys, Seabreeze Manor, Upper Stone Castle, Estridge, Connery, Keys, Stapleton, and Cunningham Heights. So that we'll be building in all of the areas in accordance with the needs of the people who live in those areas. Following the clusters, we'll be doing individual units. And the individual units we will be constructing. We will not be taking on persons with high income salaries. We're looking for the poor and indigent. So that those persons with land in areas where government distributed lands over the last 10 or so years, there's an opportunity for you to also benefit under this program. And I will move forward quickly to indicate that in those areas, there is water in some places, electricity in some places, and maybe roads. But we will be working in 2017, as announced by Minister Patches Liber, to ensure that the infrastructure is put in those areas so that those individuals can go to the financial institutions, get credit from those financial institutions, and embark upon constructing their homes. Everything cannot rely on NHC. We cannot build for everybody. So you have a responsibility, some of you, to engage your financial institutions to build. The areas where we will focus on completing the infrastructure include Cabbage Tree Housing Development, Stapleton Gardens, Taylor's East, Paris Extension in St. Peter's, Farms Housing Development, Farms Meadows, Shadwell South, Wingfield View, Boyd's View, the Molyneux Park in Molyneux, Rollins Housing Development, Crescent Hill, Cabbage Tree Extension Phase 2, Moorfield, that's an area between Molyneux and Phillips's, Racecourse, Hermitage Phase 2, East West Farm, Hermitage Phase 3, Middle Island Phase 2. And of course, we will concentrate also on Otleys Housing Extension, Duas, Hermitage Highlands, Pine Gardens, Upper Keon, Lodge Slopes, and Wingfield. I took the time to mention all of these because in the past, land was being distributed and the infrastructure had not been put in to accommodate construction. We want those people who have the ability to do so, to get out to their financial institutions and build. In order to do that, we are providing the requisite infrastructure through the Ministry of Public Infrastructure and the Ministry of Sustainable Development as well, I should say that. We are providing that infrastructure to encourage persons to continue to build. 2017 to 2020 are the years for increase in construction. And when my chairman said 2,000 solutions, it did not mean 2,000 solutions from NHC. It is 2,000 solutions in the entire country. I look forward to the construction which will start, I think, on Monday. Is it? Well, in a week, in a day or two, anyway. I really was hoping for Monday. I wanted to see myself on a bulldozer Monday morning. We look forward to the construction when it commences, and we ask all of the people who will be building to observe the rules that we have set out to ensure that we complete this project on time and on budget. I thank you for listening, and I look forward to the construction, the start of the construction.